It's not any news that building a level can take pretty long, but there's a lot of strategies you can do to make it take less long to finish a level. Wow, what a great intro. So maybe you don't know this, but I used to be an extremely fast creator. Like, many of my levels were done in just one day, or sometimes across 3 to 4 hours, and there was always someone asking me how I could build fast. So after my last video on keybinds, I decided to finally make a video with some of the knowledge I've gathered over the 4 years I've been creating on how to be faster at it. Anyway, something that I did a lot back then was reusing assets, and that's my first tip to build faster. When you're making a level, you might get stuck with always having to come up with something new for each part, but you can always reuse your own assets and change them a little bit just for variation. And if they're far enough from each other, you don't really have to change it at all. And this is especially useful for big projects. I'm doing this on my level Crystal Odyssey. It's a huge platformer, which I'm building live on Twitch, by the way, shameless plug. And as you can see, I reused many assets, such as the flower pots, some of the doors, the windows, even entire buildings are reused. I just changed the colors. So it's a really useful thing that can save a lot of time in the long run. By the way, when I say that I'm working on this level live on Twitch, it's not just a plug for you to go over there and watch, but also actually another tip, which is to watch others build, especially your favorite creators.
We're gonna get these chomping dudes. I love these guys so much. Look how content he is with his life. He's just like, hello my friend, how are you doing today? I'm going to eat something. You know, I should probably stop being really weird in these videos.
It's a little problem with the spawn trigger. We fixed it! Let's go! Spawn triggers are absolutely disgusting.
Watching other creators build gives you access to the actual thought process behind the levels you see, and the steps they take and the little tricks they use while creating, and that is incredibly helpful. Even if someone is just building and not explaining what they're doing, simply watching the building process already helps a ton. Now, this next strategy sounds pretty simple, and I've talked about it before, but despite it being simple, I still use it to this day when I'm building, and that is making checklists for your level. I think I actually got this tip from a Lemon's video. I think he was doing a modern level.
I've got a little checklist. I'm actually going to write it down to be nice and organized, and then we're going to do details, I think. So let's actually just get right into it.
But yeah, this one is also especially useful for big projects because it helps you keep track of everything you've done and want to do for your level. This saves a lot of mental energy because instead of trying to figure out what you're going to do next, and then you have 86 ideas and then forget half of them, and then the other half is just too hard to make, then you end up just spending another 20 minutes talking on Discord instead of building the 2 ideas you still remember and they actually don't even fit the level. I'm also totally not speaking from experience. Sorry, I just really needed to get that out of my chest. Anyway, instead of doing whatever that was, you can actually just keep track of your thoughts. And this applies to anything in your life, even outside of Geometry Dash. Come on, you're getting real life advice on a GD video. I think that's at least a word I like. A sub even. But yeah, keeping track is extremely useful. You can use paper or an app. Personally, I use Notion because the design is very minimal and simple. Actually, the script for this very video is being written in Notion. Like any other video I make. This is not sponsored, by the way. I genuinely just like the app. Now back to the editor, something that is a bit more feature related and people still underuse are these editor menu buttons right here. I'm not sure if it's because there's a bunch of them, but people tend to just use 1 or 2 and not care much about the other ones when they're actually super useful for different situations. Here's a few examples. Let's say you're making a few assets just for fun on a separate level and you actually really like them and you want to use them on a different project. You can simply select the objects, click copy plus color, and it'll copy your objects plus the color. I know, it's crazy. And you can simply click paste plus color in another level and it'll paste what you copied plus the color. You can do this even if the color channel is already used because the editor will automatically use the next free colors, which are the colors that aren't being used. And speaking of these buttons, there's a really cool trick to sync pulses to the song you're using by using the Align X button. Keep in mind this will require a little bit of music and rhythm knowledge, but once you figure out how to do it, it's pretty easy to replicate. So take this song for instance. For this song, you can tell the beats happen when the kicks hit. So for each 4 hits, you have a new bar. Now you might be thinking, what does this even have to do with building faster. But hold on, it'll make sense now. Since you have 4 beats per bar and this pattern repeats, you can just put a trigger on the first beat you want at the start of any bar, then one on the last beat you want by the end of any bar as well. For me, I'll do 2 bars, so that's 8 beats. So I put it on the first beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then put the last one on the 8th beat. Something that I forgot to say when I was recording this is that you can also make the process of finding the beat a lot easier. You can simply just click create lines and then tap to the song. You can just put the offset you want here. And then as you can see, this makes it much easier to see the beats. Now all I gotta do is place the remaining pulse triggers in the middle here. They have to be in between the two, which would be 6 pulse triggers, not 8, because it's 8 pulses minus the 2 that I already placed. And now that you have the first and last one aligned and the rest in between, you can select all the pulse triggers and then click align X. And it'll evenly space out your objects, meaning now if you did the process correctly, every pulse trigger is in sync. And you can even do this for the entire level if you're using a song that has the main hits synced with the actual beat count. The majority of songs are like this. Now we get into maybe my favorite part of this video, which is where I talk about organization. It's extremely important to organize your triggers in groups based on what they do in your level. How I do it is sometimes I'll just make a big square around the group of triggers to show they are part of the same thing. It doesn't look too nice, but there isn't a correct way to do this. Just do it in a way that works for you and for your project. This helps you save a ton of time when trying to find triggers. So some time ago, I came across what is one of my favorite levels today, Last Fate by CR15. I very likely butchered that name, and the level got me super inspired to work on Crystal Odyssey, and I went to check it out in the editor, and I saw something really cool that entirely changed how I organized my project from then on. And that's the next strategy, which isn't really an editor feature, but more of a creating hack that not many creators know or use, which is text coding your level. Text coding is the art of organizing what you're doing by adding some simple text that can help you find what you want more easily. Again, you don't have to use the specific format. You can organize things to your preference. This could save you hours in the long run when looking for stuff in the editor, because instead of stressing out and spending energy and time trying to find a lost set of triggers or assets, you can spend that energy and time on actually doing what you wanted to do in the first place. Now, text coding can be even crazier of a strategy if done alongside another insane time-saving editor feature, and ever since I found out about it, it completely changed how I build. But that one is PC exclusive, so if you want to know more about it, you can watch this video in here, in which I show many useful keybinds and features that you can access through them. Thank you very much for watching, appreciate it. I'm also trying to go for more building videos soon, not just Crystal Odyssey though, so keep that in mind. Also, a huge thanks to the channel members. Thank you for the extra support. It means a lot to me. Much love to all of you. But anyway, I will see you guys on the next video. Bye bye.